Welcome back, friends, to Fire Management Series number 7. For this Fire Management Series video, we're going to experiment with a new device that I just recently purchased off of Amazon.com. Look at this. It's a charcoal basket that fits in the firebox on the 1957. So today we're going to be smoking 2 different kinds of pork sausage. We're going to be doing a modified cold smoke. We're actually going to start off with a little bit of colder temperatures in the pit, giving that sausage a chance to dry out and form more of a pedicle. And then later in the cook, we're going to be raising the temperature. So we're going to be using our dampers on our pit much more during this cook in order to control the temperatures. Today's ambient temperature is 36 degrees. It's rather cold out here today. The sun's coming up. It's 9:20 in the morning. I started the fire at about 9 a.m. So once the sun kind of gets up, I hope it'll go up to about 45 or 50 degrees, so it won't be totally freezing out here. But stick around and we'll see how this new charcoal basket works. Already folks are asking, where did you get that charcoal basket from? And here's the site that we got that. Fat Daddy Smokers. You can find them on Amazon.com. Okay, our charcoal is burnt down, and now we're going to go ahead and put the basket into our Workhorse Pit. Notice in the 1957 the firebox is shorter, so one of the reasons I selected this fire basket was it absolutely fits very nicely in the firebox. It's not too long, not too short. Fits nice and easily right in there. And now we can take our charcoal, release that into the fire basket. And we're going to take a few splits of some pecan wood, put in there on top of it. We're going to go ahead and get some heat going through our pit. Get this thing warmed up. We want to get our pit somewhere up around 140, 150 degrees. So just to get it kind of started, and then we'll choke it down to control the temps as we need it. So one more stick of some pecan there. All righty, we're going to close this up and start letting some of this hot air and smoke pass through our pit. Let it flow a little bit just to get it warmed up. And then once we get it warmed up, we'll start closing up the dampers to bring it down to the temperature that we want. As you can see on our gauges here, we're not even anywhere past 0 hardly. So we'll see you back in a few minutes. It's been a few minutes. It's now 10:15, and our temperature of our pit is up to 150 degrees. We've got our dampers choked down to about 1/3 on our stack, and about a little less than 1/3 on our firebox damper. So now it's time to go ahead and open this thing up and start putting our sausage in. We have these square tubes that are cut to fit where our grate racks would go. And we're going to use these to place our sausage into the pit. So we're just going to take our loops. We've got our loops and hanks tied. And we're going to just hang them in our smoker. This one back, this one. Spread everything out just a little bit, give some room so it take up that smoke. Boy, it smells good in here. There you have it. Close this thing up and let the fire and the smoke do its job. See you back in an hour. Welcome back, friends. It's now 11:15, so it's been an hour since we last tended the fire. Our thermometers have dropped. It's now about 125 degrees, so it's time to do some checking on the fire. Let's open this up and see how we're doing. As you see, our coals are burn out pretty well. So we're gonna work some of that ash down through the tray. And then we're going to fill this up with some charcoal. There's our free hob. We've got that filled up with charcoal. And we have some hickory chips here. We're going to go ahead and mix in there. So we can have some good smoky flavor coming through. Oops, that's cherry. Like that. Now what we're doing here is we got a pretty good sized bed of charcoal, and we're going to let that start working its way in. I'm actually going to work these chips into that bed of charcoal a little bit so we can get that smoke going. Alrighty. Ideally, I should have put some of those wood chunks down underneath the charcoal. What we're going to do is just going to continue to let that burn real slowly. We've got our air damper shut off to a little less than a quarter of an opening here, and about a quarter of an opening on our stack. And hopefully that'll help us to regulate our temperature and keep it around 140 degrees or so is what we're trying to shoot for, 140 to 150 degrees. Alrighty, we'll check on it again in an hour, see how it's doing. Welcome back, friends. Another hour has passed since we fed the fire with some additional charcoal and some wood splits. And our temperature in the pit right now, over here near the exhaust, is running about 175. It's running about 200 up here on the top. And over here near the firebox, it's running almost to 225. If you'll come over here, I'll give you a little, I have an infrared thermometer. You can see our firebox is 334 degrees. We come over here to the edge of the pit. At this end of the pit, it's 195, 196. Over here on this side, it starts to get cooler, 160. Here it's 148. And over here by the exhaust, 145. Now the temperature of the pit itself does not correlate that well with the temperature of the gases, but it does show the heat moves from the fire across the pit and up through the stack. So you're always going to have a certain amount of extra heat at the end that's closest to the fire versus the amount of heat that's near the stack where the exhaust is. Currently I have the chimney shut down. I have the firebox butterfly also shut down to, maybe even just a little bit of an 1/8 of an inch. But remember, we're running a fuel-rich fire, so there's more fuel. So the way we have to control the temperature is by controlling the air flow. So let me put some gloves on here. We're gonna go in and take a peek at our sausage. We're gonna flip them over so the parts that have been up towards the heat up at the top are down at the bottom, and the parts that have been down at the bottom are put up there closer to the parts where the heat is. So we're just going to do some adjustments in here. Get these gloves on, and you can see when you look at the sausage, the parts at the top are a little darker than the parts at the bottom. On these that are single loops, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of flip them up over the bar like this, because I don't really have a good way of rotating them, but I can do them like that. And then these, I'm just going to flip over, rotate them, and you see it's starting to sweat a good bit. That moisture is coming out of them. They're starting to dry out a little bit, which is part of that whole curing process. And there we go. Just a couple more loops to go. A little more difficult to do sausage in a transverse flow pit like this, offset pit, because it does tend to have heat up above. In a box smoker where the smoke is coming in or the fire is below it, you'd get more vertical rise and you'd have probably a little better temperature distribution. But here it's just a simple matter of rotating the sausage around and to even out that cooking. So we'll check back in an hour, see where we're at. Welcome back, friends. Another hour has passed. It is now 1:20 p.m. in the afternoon. Time to kind of check on our fire and see how it's doing. Our temperatures are holding at 175 degrees. We're just going to check our fuel level real quick and see. Looks like we've got a pretty good level of fuel there. I'm just going to stir that a little bit just to ash to fall out of there. So it's burning nice and slow. That's the way we want it. And we're also going to check our sausage real quick. Oh yeah, look at that color. Wow, that is really looking pretty. Alrighty, we're going to close it up and let our fire and smoke do its job. Okay, folks, sausage has been on there about 4 hours now. About 4 hours and 15 minutes. Temperature in the pit starting to drop. Let's check the temperature of our sausage here. $132, 133, 144, 145, 48, 140, 141, 142, 143. So at 140 degrees internal temperature, we've pretty much killed all the bacteria. You can see our sausage is really dried out and got a nice finish on it. So we don't want to overcook it. We're going to pull it off right here and take it in and wash it in a ice bath and then prep it to Ziploc bag it or vacuum bag it. So we can check in on our fire real quick to see how our fire did. We still got some ash and everything there. Notice how we got a nice long burn out of that. Our firebox did really, really well. Look at that. Did really nice. I hope you enjoyed our fire management video. Thanks for watching.